Ryan.
Thanks, Deputy Speaker. I want to acknowledge that we're here today on the second anniversary of the October 7 attacks, an atrocity and a war crime that the Greens and I roundly condemn. We continue to call for peace and to end the cycle of violence that both predates and has intensified since October the 7th. I have some questions I'd like to ask today of the Minister representing the Foreign Minister and the Minister representing the Trade Minister. Surya McEwen, Abu Bakr Rafiq, Hamish Patterson, Juliette Lamont, Bianca Webb-Pullman, Cameron Tribe. Heroic Australians kidnapped and abused by Israel. Their crime? Delivering food and medical supplies to Gazans who are being deliberately starved and murdered by Israel. These Australians have been subjected to horrific abuse by the Israeli authorities. Reports are that Surya McEwen has been left with a dislocated arm, injured head, subjected to sleep deprivation, passport destroyed. That Juliette Lamont has had her medication confiscated, putting her at serious risk of a stroke, and sprayed with a water cannon and left for 7 hours in an unventilated area in soaking clothes with hands tied. That detainees have had clean water withheld. The government should be doing everything in its power to protect and support these Australian citizens. I ask the Minister to urgently provide an update on the well-being of these Australians. How can you, Minister, justify continuing to regard Israel as a friend and an ally when this is how they treat innocent Australian citizens? How can you continue to approve export permits of weapons parts sent directly to Israel, directly contributing to the genocide in Gaza? Australia is a party to the Genocide Convention. That means we've agreed that we will act to prevent genocide. A definitive ICJ ruling that a genocide is taking place in Gaza could take until 2027. But what we do have is a ruling that it's plausible that genocide is occurring. It's been called a genocide by an absolute wealth of international organisations, including the Organisation of Genocide Scholars, Amnesty International, Israeli human rights group B'Tselem, and an independent UN Commission of Inquiry, just to name a few. There have been at least 68 shipments of F-35 Joint Strike Fighter aircraft parts flown from Australia directly to Israel between October 2023 and September 2025. The simple fact is that without Australia's contribution, the F-35s would not be able to drop bombs on innocent Palestinians in Gaza. Minister, when will you acknowledge our obligation under the Convention to take immediate action to prevent the genocide of Palestinians in Gaza? Will you wait till the genocide is complete, when it will be too late to do what we should have been doing under the Convention, and that is everything in our power to stop the mass slaughter?